Andrew Tate banned from being within 100 yards of his ex for the next 3 years. Yep, the self-proclaimed top G, the guy who says he bends reality to his will, just got legally told, stay away from Bri Stern. Do not pass go, do not collect $200, and don't even breathe near her latte at Starbucks. And the gag is, he's acting like it's no big deal. Like, 3 years? Cool. That's just 3 more years I don't gotta deal with her. But honey, behind that tough guy act is a messy courtroom war with sexual assault accusations, defamation countersuits, and lawyers throwing shade like it's the Super Bowl. So buckle up, because we're about to unpack every juicy detail of how Andrew Tate ended up with a restraining order slapped on him in Los Angeles, and why this case might end up cracking open more than he bargained for. Before we get into the legal war, let's talk about Bri Stern. She's not just Andrew Tate's ex. She's a model, socialite, and influencer in the LA scene, blonde, glamorous, and living that West Coast dream. From what's out there, Bri and Andrew had one of those whirlwind relationships. You know the type: fast cars, flashy trips, luxury, everything. Tate's whole brand is flexing Bugattis and cigars, so naturally his partner had to look the part. But according to Bri, behind all that glam was something darker. She says their relationship went from lavish to toxic real quick. By March, she claimed things got violent during sex, and she decided she wasn't gonna stay silent. That's when she went to the Beverly Hills police. In March, Bri filed a police report saying Andrew attacked her during sex. Now let's be real. A Beverly Hills police report against Andrew Tate? That headline alone is enough to break the internet. And for Bri, this wasn't just a we had a fight situation. She framed it as outright abuse. But here's where it gets complicated. The Los Angeles district attorney reviewed the case and declined to prosecute. That decision right there split the internet in half. Tate's supporters were like, see, the system checked it out and threw it out. He's innocent. Meanwhile, Bri's supporters were saying this is exactly why victims don't come forward. DAs don't want messy, high-profile cases. And the thing about criminal cases, they require proof beyond a reasonable doubt. That's a high bar. But civil lawsuits, different story. Lower burden of proof. That's why Bri didn't stop at the DA's decision. She hired a shark. Now let's talk lawyers. Because honestly, this case feels like a courtroom reality show. Bri went and hired Tony Buzbee, a Texas powerhouse attorney with a reputation for being aggressive, flashy, and relentless. This is the guy who represented dozens of women in the sexual misconduct lawsuits against NFL star Deshaun Watson. And he's got money, charisma, and media savvy. In other words, if you want to sue a rich, controversial man, Tony Buzbee is your guy. And from day one, Buzbee was loud about this case. He told TMZ, the restraining order entered against Mr. Tate is for a period of 3 years, which should be sufficient to take us through the conclusion of Miss Stone's civil case. I am chomping at the bit to try this case in front of a jury. This won't go well for him. Translation? He's ready to drag Andrew Tate through the mud in front of 12 jurors and the world. But of course, Andrew Tate wasn't going to let that slide. This man lives for drama. Tate's lawyer, Joseph D. McBride, came out swinging too. He told TMZ that Tate agreed to the restraining order as a strategic decision. Basically, look, this isn't a loss. It's just a temporary civil order. Tate isn't admitting to anything. And by the way, the DA already declined to prosecute, so there's no criminal case. This is all just noise. And then McBride threw in that spicy Mike Tyson quote, "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." Sir, what does that even mean in a restraining order case? Are you threatening to knock out the opposing attorney or just trying to sound tough? Either way, it gave TMZ exactly the soundbite they wanted. So what does this restraining order actually mean? It means Andrew Tate can't contact Bri in any way. No calls, no texts, no sneaky burner Instagrams, no, oops, I didn't know she was at that party. And he has to stay at least 100 yards away from her at all times for 3 years. And here's the kicker. Tate doesn't even live in the US right now. He's mostly based abroad, between Romania and Dubai. So on paper, this restraining order might not even change his day-to-day life. But here's why it matters. If Tate does come back to the US for trial, for business, for whatever, he's got legal boundaries now. And if he slips up, that's a violation. Judges don't play about restraining orders. So this is less about stopping him from showing up tomorrow and more about creating a legal safety net for Bri in case he does. Now let's talk about the people. Because the court of public opinion is just as loud as the court of law. Tate's fans, his top G army, are spinning this like a nothing burger. They're saying, see, the DA dropped it. This restraining order doesn't mean anything. It's just legal technicalities. On Twitter, some of his stans are even bragging. Tate wins again. They can't touch him. Meanwhile, Bri's supporters are cheering this as a victory. They're saying, this proves she's serious. She's not letting him intimidate her. And they're hyping up Tony Busby like he's about to deliver the smackdown of the century. So the internet is split. One side thinks Tate is untouchable. The other thinks this is the start of his downfall. So where does this all go from here? Well, the restraining order is locked in for 3 years. But the real battle is the civil trial. That's where Bri will have to put her evidence on the table. Texts, witnesses, medical records, whatever she's got. And Tate? He'll be doing everything he can to discredit her and flip the narrative. Civil trials can get messy. And with Tony Busby on one side and Joseph McBride on the other, we're basically guaranteed fireworks. This isn't going to be some quiet little legal fight. This is going to be high drama. Cameras outside the courthouse, social media blowing up every day. And here's the twist a lot of people are whispering about. Was this restraining order really no big deal for Tate? Or was it a quiet L? Think about it. This is a man who calls himself Top G, who claims nobody controls him. And now, a judge literally signed papers controlling where he can go and who he can talk to. That doesn't exactly scream unbothered. And let's not forget, restraining orders are public record. So for the next 3 years, anytime Tate tries to flex in LA, people are gonna remember, aren't you the guy banned from going near your ex? Image matters. And even if he wins the civil trial, this stain isn't going away anytime soon. So here's the big question. Is Andrew Tate really out here playing 4D chess, brushing off restraining orders, and flicking lawsuits into PR? Or is this the first crack in the Top G armor? Proof that when women fight back, even Tate can be boxed in by the law? And Bri Stern, is she about to deliver the receipts that could bury him in court? Or will Tate's countersuit flip the narrative and paint her as the one chasing clout? Because one thing's for sure, this civil trial is gonna be explosive. And baby, we'll be front row with the popcorn. But what do y'all think? Is Tate really as unbothered as he looks? Or is this restraining order the beginning of a messy downfall? Let me know in the comments, because this one's far from over. And don't forget, hit that like, smash that subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because you already know Fame and Feels will be here breaking it all down as it happens.